Welcome to the Art of Classiness podcast, a show where we redefine what it means to be a classy lady. And sometimes it's messy. I'm Robin.
And I'm Deborah, two friends turned classy ladies who are here to discuss life's ups and downs, navigating the complexities of adulthood, and how the gift of friendship is essential to belonging.
Today we're diving into the chaotic world of Am I the Asshole? Workplace edition. From prank firing in front of rude customers to locking up stolen lunches, we're judging these messy dilemmas.
Are these moves boundary-setting genius or total overkill? We'll break it down, spill our takes, and decide who's really the villain.
So follow along, give us your feedback, and don't forget to like and subscribe. What's up, classy ladies and gentlemen? Deborah, how are you?
Whew. Let's check on in. Little Thanksgiving update if you've been following along closely. Last weekend you could hear in my voice, really just at my wit's end with just stress and had a lot going on and was hoping to get my house prepared because I was going to host my parents and my grandma for Thanksgiving. And then just a mere 24 hours later, hit my breaking point and said, you know what? Thanksgiving's canceled. Not doing it. Not hosting, not doing it. And it felt real good. It felt real good to do. And quite honestly, like looking back on the week, I don't know how I could have done it. Now, plot twist, I did decide at the last minute to try to update some features in my guest bathroom. That added a ridiculous amount of work that is still not done. So that's on me. That's on me. Poor planning on my part. But really, I worked until like 6:30 on Wednesday. I didn't have a second to like really clean my house or do the proper grocery shopping. Like I genuinely did not have the time to prepare to have like a good hosting experience. So what was supposed to be a day of me just kind of like getting some downtime and relaxing really just turned into me doing a mountain of chores and work all day. So 100% the opposite of like, yay, I'm reclaiming my time. Like it was a very laborious day, not really one for the books by any means. But you know what? Felt pretty good going to bed in clean sheets and waking up to a clean and tidy home. And for that, I am thankful.
That's great.
So I am what I'm most thankful for this year, my sheer will to get things done.
And good on you for listening to your body and just doing what you need to do without feeling bad about it.
Yes.
Because that is definitely a struggle for people like us.
Yeah, it definitely was a real personal victory to say, I know this is going to ruffle some feathers, but I need to do this for me. Thankfully, my family was so understanding, so it really wasn't an issue. But yeah, just a reminder, people, like you don't have to do things just because you're supposed to. If you're at your breaking point, just take a rest. And even though cleaning's not fun, it is something that gives me a little dopamine hit to just like have it be done. So it all worked out. But boy, are my feet just like sore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're just on your feet all day. I think we talked about this last week with just like preparing for Thanksgiving. But I did get a nice little FaceTime call from you, Robin, and our friend Jackie. So yeah, why don't you tell us about your Thanksgiving?
Well, speaking of sore feet, before Thanksgiving, I love puzzles, but I never do them in my own home. I just take advantage of it at other people's houses, partially because when I start a puzzle, it's all I want to do. And I got this new puzzle mat so that when you're not working on it, you can roll it up and just get it out of the way. Because the only place I can do it is on our island in the kitchen. And over 3 days and about 16 hours, I completed a 1,500-piece puzzle.
Oh my God. You did send me a picture of the work in progress, and it looks like a very intense puzzle.
My back was absolutely killing me.
Oh, yeah. There's no good posture to work on a puzzle.
No.
They need a magnet puzzle that you could do standing up.
Oh.
That's what needs to happen.
But where do they magnet to?
I don't. It would have to be a whole thing. It would have to be
a magnetic wall,
yeah,
which is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the day before Thanksgiving, I volunteered to make 2 pumpkin pies and these amazing, like, Japanese sweet potato mashed potatoes. So good. And Seth was like, "Okay, what do we need to do?" It was like 11 a.m. on Wednesday. And I was like, "Well, I need to finish this puzzle."
You need to make 2 pumpkin pies.
And he's like, "Oh, so we can get it out of the way?" And I was like, "Sure, yeah." Fast forward to 6 p.m. And I was like, "Oh, I guess I'll start on those pies now," forgetting that after you make the dough, you have to let it rest in the fridge for at least an hour. And by the time I started on that, it was like 8. And then I was like, "Oh, I can't actually, like, do anything else tonight because the crust needs to be warm when you add the pumpkin custard to put it back in the oven." I was like, "Well, shit." So I had to wake up early the next day to do all of that and just right down to the last minute.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
And it involved me putting the pies in the freezer to try to get them to set faster. But you know what? They still turned out amazing. They were very delicious. The crust was not soggy. You know how the bottom of a pie, if you don't do that properly, the moisture is able to break through it and just make the whole bottom of the crust soggy. So yeah, I accomplished that. It did have that perfect flaky texture that you're looking for. I was so proud of myself. I feel like Paul Hollywood would have given me a positive review. But yeah, all because of a puzzle that I wasn't doing for anyone but me.
Well, I'm glad you accomplished both of those things just in the nick of time, too.
Yeah. The pies and potatoes, they were both big hits at Thanksgiving, which, yeah, Jackie was gracious enough to host. And so we got to hang out with her family and some other friends. And it was just a really nice, lovely day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Here we go. That sounds lovely.
Yeah. So, Deborah, you gave us some insight on how your Thanksgiving break wasn't really a break at all. You spent the whole time working, and we made this workplace specific to talk about the ins and outs of working with people who just don't understand or respect boundaries.
It's the ultimate social experiment. You know, putting different personalities together, people operate differently under stress. So, whenever you have all those things come together, or people maybe thinking a relationship is a friendship and they're really just coworkers, it's just ripe for conflict. And so, we thought it would be a fun idea, especially this time of year. It's like the end of the year. I just feel like people so desperately want a break from their coworkers, which is why they look forward to Thanksgiving and even like Christmas break. Why not dive down the rabbit hole of Am I the Asshole stories that focus on workplace, boundaries, pranks, and even some petty revenge?
So let's dive in.
Okay, am I the asshole for pretending to get fired when customers get a temper with me? I am a high schooler with a weekend job at a coffee shop. My coworkers who work there are James, the owner's son. He goes to my school. He's a shift manager, but it's not a real formal thing. He's a friendly guy. Danielle, a college student who sometimes works weekends too. So sometimes customers will come in and just be angry about such little stuff, like literally blow up about nothing. I don't know if they're in a bad mood already and looking for someone to take it out on or what, but it's a lot. Like, how sad do you have to be a grown ass man taking your anger out on high school and college kids? So James and I were joking about having a little fun with them and hopefully getting them off our backs. So one day I was at work and some guy was having a temper about how we don't make the coffee hot enough, which I couldn't do a thing about because I gave it to him right out of the machine. So James came up and was like, "Sir, is there a problem here?" And the guy started ranting at him. So he was just like, "OP, this is unacceptable. You're fired." I started acting real sad, like, "No, please don't fire me. My family needs the money. I need this job, please." And he played it up being a hard ass, telling me to take my apron off and leave. The angry guy started to backtrack, like, "It isn't that big of a problem. You don't need to fire her over it. I didn't mean it." And James was like, "No, we pride ourselves on the best customer service." Of course, after all that drama, I still had my job. We were just acting. And we've done it a couple times. Whenever a customer will lose their temper at 𝗔𝗯𝐬𝐬𝐢, James will storm in and quote unquote fire us. And almost every time, the person who had come in angry will apologize and say that they didn't mean it. It's kind of satisfying, making people realize that their actions might actually have consequences. Anyway, I was telling my friends from school about this, and a few of them thought it was a mean prank to let someone go away thinking they'd gotten someone who desperately needs the money fired. Am I the asshole for this joke?
Okay, I don't agree with those friends because if someone is being an asshole to you and the only reason they backtrack is because they think you're actually seeing consequences from doing a bad job in their eyes, I think that gives them the opportunity to think twice about how they speak to people they don't even know.
To me, if you backtrack on someone getting fired after you yelled at the manager about their behavior because you didn't want them to get fired, that just means you just wanted to be mean to them.
It's so immature. You just wanted to get your anger out and you thought the best place to do that was towards a stranger? They didn't affect your day.
No, and the thing is, like, these friends that think it's a mean prank, I'm going to go out on a limb and say they don't work in customer service.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, whether it's a coffee shop or like as we know at a bar or God forbid retail, like you put up with the
So much bullshit.
dumbest complaints and just the meanest personalities, even just on a micro level. I was just thinking the other day, how many times did you go up to a table and you're like, "Hey guys, how you doing today?" And they're like, "Diet Coke."
Mm-hmm.
You're like, "Oh, okay." Like, can't even have one moment where they treat you like a human up front. So sometimes people need to learn, like, hey, if you're going to be a Karen and just go running up to the manager and not think through the kind of consequences that could have on someone,
Right.
then, like, why would you even do it?
Because they're a Karen.
Because they're a Karen. Some people need to know exactly the consequences of their actions. And I personally applaud this poster and her coworkers.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's absolutely hilarious. And, they don't take their jobs too seriously. I'm just imagining, like, what if these people come back and see that whoever got fired is
I
still
know.
there?
I was just thinking that too. Yeah, maybe you gotta have a long story or maybe you can say, "Oh, out of the gratitude of his heart, he let me have a
Yeah.
second chance. Please, please, please. I hope this coffee is hot enough for you."
My parents talked to the owner and convinced them to let me come back. Hopefully, I can stick around this time. I don't know.
I think by the end of this month, I should have enough money
For Tiny Tim.
for Tiny Tim to finally get his crutches. Yeah, kudos to this team for coming up with a genius way to shut people up when it comes to their just mindless complaints.
Truly, like, what a great solution. Because those kinds of Karens, like, they're never satisfied. There's nothing you can do or say. You might as well just go to the extreme and see what happens.
Yep.
And if they're happy about you getting fired, wow. Just wow.
It shows who the real asshole is.
Yeah.
But it ain't the poster. It ain't the poster.
No, not the asshole.
Not the asshole.
Declared.
Declared.
Okay, next we have, am I the asshole for locking the office fridge after someone kept stealing my lunch? I, 34 male, work in a small office with about 10 people. We share a communal kitchen, including one fridge. Over the past month, my lunch has been stolen 5 times. Not just random snacks, entire homemade meals I bring from home, gone without a trace. It's not just frustrating, it's expensive and messes up my day. I mentioned it a couple times in the group chat, like, hey, someone's been taking my lunches, please stop. Everyone either ignored it or sent vague messages like, ugh, that sucks, or some people are the worst. But no one took responsibility. So I bought a mini fridge and put it under my desk. Nothing fancy, just enough to hold my meals and a drink. I also put a little lock on it just for extra peace of mind. Since then, no more stolen lunches. Well, last Friday, one of my coworkers, I'll call her Dana, 29 female, confronted me during lunch and said it was weird and selfish that I had a personal fridge. She said it made me look paranoid and not part of the team. I said I was tired of my food being stolen, and this was the only solution that worked. She said I should have just brought stuff I wouldn't care about losing, like snacks or microwave meals if I was so worried. A couple of others have now made little comments like, "Don't let him see your lunch, he might lock it up," or "We get it, you're special." I'm starting to feel like the weirdo in the office just for protecting my stuff. Am I the asshole for locking up my lunch instead of letting this keep happening? What the fuck?
I mean, I would feel like I was living in a bizarro planet if that was happening to me at work.
Dana's like, just bring shittier food, and then it's fine if it gets stolen. Are you kidding me?
I mean, he could have easily just done the reciprocal thing and just started eating other people's lunches. You know, he could have done that to prove a point. Like, oh, I thought this was a communal fridge. My food seems to be enjoyed by anyone who wants it. Therefore, I just assumed that this was a fridge that it's welcome to anybody to consume. But he didn't. He took matters into his own hands to protect his homemade food. And for everyone to get mad at him for that, first of all, they must really like what he makes. Must be a good cook.
Yeah. It's like, how many people are stealing your meals? Is it more than one?
And the fact that only 10 people work there is also insane.
Right? It's such a small handful. Like, it's one of them.
100% it's the first girl who confronted it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And she's probably the one that has started making these jokes, and people are just picking up on it, which is so bizarre to me.
It is.
Yeah, get your own fridge. I've dealt with people stealing my food in my own fucking house. Like,
oh, Seth.
No. Roommates.
Oh, okay.
But it's like, you know who did it, and then they still do it.
I mean, yes, that would honestly piss me off so great. If that happened to me one time where someone's eating my food,
I would be furious. Don't fuck with my food, man. Don't fuck with my food.
Yeah, but multiple times, like, I think that's the nicest thing he could have done is just have his own fridge. Just say, this is mine, not yours.
I might have thrown a tantrum and just destroyed everything in the kitchen because I got hangry monster.
I would have thrown everybody's food away is what I would have done. Nobody gets to eat it now. It's going in the trash.
Yep, and just get everyone there in the kitchen. Like, okay, who the fuck is stealing my food?
Yeah, line them up.
One of you 9 people, own up to it right now.
Yeah, let me smell your breath. Everybody step forward. Breathe into my nose.
He should, like, bring a fish meal to where if they, like, try to heat it up, then you smell it.
Busted right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy has 2 choices. One, just keep living his life and just completely cut off any personal affection he has with any other coworker because these people are not your friends. Okay.
Yeah.
Or 2, trap them, like you just said. You can either bring fish or maybe bring something that might be a little bad, a little spoiled. Might give you a little bubble guts.
Or something with some, like, X-Lax.
Yeah. And see who's on the shitter.
Yeah.
That's right.
Or hidden camera. I'm wondering how big this office is. If it's only 10 people, like, I feel like you would see who's going in and out of the kitchen pretty regularly.
They're all in on it.
Yeah, it's so strange. This is really strange. Like, I would want to quit my job. I would want to leave this place.
I would start to go down a conspiracy wormhole of like, this is the tip of the iceberg. There's something deeper going on here. Let's follow the money. Let's follow. Do you know what I mean?
Like some severance type shit.
Yes, exactly. Like there's something deeper going on that we don't know about. But
watch it be the boss that's stealing.
Yeah. Yeah. Either way, not the asshole at all. Protect that food.
At all costs.
Resource guard.
Declared.
Okay, our next one. Am I the asshole for telling my coworker her kids are none of my business? School holidays are coming up, and I have a coworker panicking as she left it too late to book vacation slots. My company had a rule where no more than 3 coworkers can leave at the same time for vacation. I already filled in my vacation slot months ago, and I haven't taken any in nearly a year. I'm single and unmarried and in my 30s. company HR told my coworker that her only way to get her vacation is to get one of us who already had our vacation time approved to trade with her. And considering out of the three of us whose vacations were approved, I am the only female, guess who my coworker approached for the trade? She tried explaining, gently at first, that her kids, 6 and 4 years of age apparently, were really looking forward to going to Disneyland and that everything is already booked. And if I can give up my vacation spot to her. I told her no, as I too already had my vacation booked. It's a solo vacation, but I'm not about to tell her that. She got real pushy and kept trying to insist I give her my vacation spot, saying that my kids will be so disappointed. I blew up at her after the 4th or 5th time, telling her that her kids being disappointed is none of my business. I didn't exactly keep my voice down, so at least half the office heard, and my coworker turned red and left. One of my coworkers, 25 male, who sat to my side, who had heard the entire conversation, he later told me that while he gets where I'm coming from, I could be a lot gentler, and I didn't get how hard mothers get it. Am I the asshole?
I mean, there are so many other problems here. Like, HR should not be telling an employee to go talk to someone else about them canceling their vacation. That is so wrong.
That is the literal worst professional advice from HR I could ever imagine, to be like, this will be fun. Let me just pit you guys against each other. Like,
Yeah.
1000% the worst. Like, all of these things could have been avoided if HR just said, your vacation is not approved. You cannot go on vacation. End of story. Like, that's it.
Yes. This is your fault.
The conversation ends here. Not, why don't you figure it out with your friends? See if they can switch it out for you. No. Not at all. That puts everyone in such a shitty position.
Yeah. Like, your lack of planning should not be the reason that others get punished.
Yeah. And if you had this trip to Disneyland planned so long ago, then why didn't you put your vacation time in sooner?
Exactly. Your 25-year-old male coworker giving you advice on what it's like to be a mom.
Yeah. Like, you don't get how mothers have it. You don't get it either, dude. What are you talking about? What are you even talking about?
Yeah.
So, it is hard. Both sides have their own very strong opinion as to like whose time is more valuable. But the bottom line is like the mom of kids just like didn't do a very good job planning this out. And she should not have to make it somebody else's problem and shame somebody else. Like, you don't know why this person doesn't have kids, first of all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to make them feel bad that they are just single and get to do whatever they want with their time because they don't have kids is just, I don't like that at all.
No, and she seems to imply that this woman only came to her because she's the only female who requested time off, and she would be the easiest to convince to give up her slot.
Yeah.
It's still fucked up that she's asking anyone
Right.
to get rid of their vacation stuff, but like, send a group message at the very least.
Right. Yeah.
Is anyone willing? It's not fair that she's the only one that got repeatedly confronted.
Mm-hmm.
The first time they say no, take them at their word. Like, you don't get to keep, like, she's trying to wear OP down. That's just not okay.
No, it's so crass.
Like, you're not friends. You are coworkers. OP don't owe you shit.
No, and your kids are none of her business.
It's true.
They really are not. And sometimes you really just have to leave your personal shit at home. I know when you spend a lot of time with people, it's your instinct to share and to connect, but sometimes it's best just to like leave your personal life at home and really just deal with the matters at work. And yeah, when OP said no the first time, that should have been the end of the conversation.
Agreed.
So, sorry kids, you're going to have to meet Mickey Mouse and Goofy another time because mommy didn't plan this correctly.
Exactly. And I bet mommy's still going to blame the coworker just so that it's not her fault.
As if she's the only one, too. Like, move on. You know what I mean? Like, maybe go to a different coworker. Okay, she said no. Let me ask, James over here. Or let me ask Tommy. Like, don't just pin it all on this one person. But you know that she is doing that because that person doesn't have kids. And so she feels like that's the in where she can guilt her.
Right. She definitely can't tell her kids it was her fault. She's definitely going to put the blame on OP.
I wonder if there even is a Disneyland booked. Maybe she just wants the time off.
Or maybe she was planning to book the Disneyland. I would hope so you don't lose all that money.
Right.
But OP is definitely not the asshole. Way to stand your ground and stick to those boundaries. Proud of you.
And enjoy that solo vacation. How nice is that?
Yeah. Get away from these toxic coworkers.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Declared. Okay, here's our last one. Am I the asshole for telling an employee she can choose between demotion or termination? I own a vape shop. We're a small business, only 12 employees. One of my employees, Peggy, was supposed to open yesterday. Peggy has recently been promoted to manager after 2 solid years of good work as a cashier. I really thought she could handle the responsibility. So I wake up 3 hours after the place should be open, and I have 22 notifications on the store Facebook page. Customers have been trying to come to the shop, but the store is closed. Employees are showing up to work, but they're locked out. I call Peggy and get no response. I text her, same thing. So I go in and open the store. An hour before her shift was supposed to be over, she calls me back. I asked her if she's okay, and she says she needed to take a mental health day and do some self-care. I'm still pretty pissed at this point, but I'm trying to be understanding, as I know how important mental health can be. So I asked her why she didn't call me as soon as she knew she needed the day off. Her response? I didn't have enough spoons in my drawer for that. Frankly, I don't know what that means. But it seems to me like she's saying she cannot be trusted to handle the responsibility of opening the store in the AM. So I told her that she had 2 choices. Go back to her old position with her old pay, or I fire her completely. She's calling me all sorts of ist now and saying I'm discriminating against her due to her poor mental health and her gender. None of this would have been a problem if she simply took 2 minutes to call out. I would have gotten up and opened the store on time. But this no-call, no-show shit is not the way to run a successful business. I think I might be the asshole here because I am taking away her promotion over something she really had no control over. But at the same time, she really could have called me. So, Reddit, I leave it to you. Am I the asshole?
Okay. Here's the thing. Mental health struggles are real, and they can be very debilitating. But unless you have disclosed that up front and requested accommodations, and unless he specifically demoted you because of that disability, she does not have a case. And in this instance, she's being demoted because she failed to do her job, which is outlined in the handbook, which is outlined in her employee agreement that she signed. So I hate when people immediately go for the, oh, you're just an ableist or you're just a sexist because I'm a woman, because it downgrades credible arguments that people make when they have legitimate claims like that.
Yeah.
So that right off the bat just pisses me off. But I just cannot with this, like, I need a mental health break day, so therefore none of these other responsibilities have to be taken care of. Like, that is literal insanity to me.
At the end of the day, the biggest fuck up here is her not just calling ahead.
Yeah, right.
It's the fact that the store didn't get opened at all, and then OP had many people complaining, and that's how you lose business.
Yeah, you're unreliable. You become known as unreliable. You have to know your own capabilities, and the whole there weren't enough spoons in my drawer, I'm assuming is some type of euphemism for like she didn't have the capability of making that call.
Yeah, I had too many other things to deal with.
But it's a 10-second event. And maybe mentally for her, that was a bridge too far to do, right? Maybe she literally was in such a state of duress that she could not do that.
Yeah.
But if you know That is something you may be prone to experience, especially under stress. You do need to think twice about your life choices, such as accepting a promotion that would require you to be the sole person to open a shop, to be the person that lets employees in, puts the cash in the drawer. Like, if you know, oh, you know what? Sometimes when I get triggered, like I can't get out of bed, maybe that's not the best job for me. Like, people are not free of the consequences that their mental illnesses can create for them, which is unfortunate, but you have to have a system of accountability with yourself or somebody else, you know?
Yeah, it sounds like she's not able to take on that much responsibility right now, whatever's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she had the keys to get in. Like, there were other employees showing up and they couldn't even get in
Right.
because they don't have keys because they're not managers.
Yeah. And it's hard when you are stuck inside your own prison of your mind, right? I have total sympathy for that.
Yes.
But like I said, you have to come up with systems of accountability when you are not in that state. And maybe it's a roommate, a partner, a parent that you can just send a quick message to. And it's like, okay, activate the call tree. I need to call your boss. I need to call whoever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
so that things can be covered for you. And him even offering to keep her job in the first place is nice enough
It is.
to exclude him of all of the allegations that she is throwing his way.
Yeah. You know, it says she's been a great employee for the past 2 years, so it sounds like it's not normal for her to have this kind of episode.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's strange for her to start going off on him about discriminating. He's just like, I'm just confused here. I have not seen this pattern of behavior from you ever. And as an adult, regardless of what's going on in your personal life, you still have that responsibility to simply notify
Right.
someone that, hey, I cannot come in today. I can't do it. Like, just give the owner the ability to take things over. Like, Seth had to do that so many times when they owned a bar,
Oh.
just because it was so many irresponsible kids. Like, many times this one guy, he wouldn't even like let them know he wasn't coming in.
Oh,
And Seth
God.
would have to go open the store.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a pain.
Yeah. 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 Service industry, when you own or manage people in the service industry, like,
It's the worst.
you're just babysitting. It's professional babysitting.
Yeah. There is an update,
Okay.
which neither of us have read. It's a surprise to us both.
Here we go. I wonder if we're going to be as embarrassed as we were when we read the road rage update, where we were totally wrong. I got some feedback on that episode where people were saying that they were yelling at us through the speakers because of our bad take on the road rage guy, when we were siding with him over the friend that told him to not do that.
We weren't necessarily siding with him. We were trying to be sensitive to the situation. Like, she said he's always been cool.
Yeah. Yep. We took her at her word.
She's the one that switched her tune.
She did. She really did.
We were just going off what she says. Like, we never condoned him
No.
for what he did.
Absolutely not. But yeah, either way, I thought that was funny. Okay, what is the update?
All right, update. Peggy reached out to me yesterday, apologized, and asked if we could meet for lunch. We met up, and the first thing she did was apologize again for the no call, no show, and also for her reaction to my response. She admitted that she knows I'm not sexist or ableist and explained that she was lashing out due to her mental state. I accepted her apology and offered one of my own, both for giving her too much responsibility too quickly and also for reacting out of emotion. She explained to me that she had a major issue on Monday, and without getting into too much detail, I'll just say that it was the anniversary of a bad thing. She's taking all of her accumulated PTO, which is about 9 weeks. Dang! What the fuck?
Where's this vape shop? Let me move to that country. Good God.
How do you worked there for 2 years and you accumulated 9 weeks? Never in my life. Never in my life.
This is a Canadian store. This is a Canadian store. I know it. It's definitely not in the States.
No. Okay. So she's taken off her accumulated PTO, and we've agreed that going forward, I'm not going to put her on the schedule on that day ever again. She admitted that she's not up to the role of manager. When she returns, she will be in the role of lead cashier, a role I created specifically for her. This way she can keep her raise and not feel like she got a demotion, but rather a lateral transfer. I've also let her know that if she ever feels like she's up to more responsibility, she can let me know and I'll put her right back on track for the manager spot. That's so nice. I've also let her know that if she's ever in a position where she's not able to call out, she can simply text me a thumbs down emoji and I will accept that as notice that she will be missing her next shift. She agreed that that will be okay, even when she's out of spoons. I appreciate all of the comments my post got, even the ones calling me the asshole. Thank you all very much. I want to specifically address the folks who explained spoon theory to me, as well as those who commented about Peter principle. These two types of comments very heavily influenced my actions. I was able to better understand both her issue and my own failures as a leader because of those comments. I don't know what either of those things mean.
Do we look up spoon theory real quick?
Yeah, I think so.
Because now I feel like, are we going to look like the assholes again for being like, what the hell does that mean?
Okay. Spoon theory is a metaphor that explains how limited energy is managed by people with chronic illnesses, disabilities, or other conditions. In the metaphor, each spoon represents a unit of energy, and tasks like getting out of bed or taking a shower cost a certain number of spoons. The theory helps individuals prioritize tasks, communicate their limitations to others, and prevent burnout. Okay, this update is very insightful.
Right.
This was out of character for her. This day was very special to her. Like something bad happened. So I'm sure she had a lot of trauma that came to the surface.
Right. And I think as a leader, he did a fantastic job of finding a common language between the two of them so that she felt psychologically safe enough to express herself without maybe feeling so vulnerable that it was like opening more trauma.
Yes.
And what he did in terms of creating the lead cashier role is a great example of accommodation because he's still recognizing her strengths and wanting to reward her for her performance, but not putting her in a position that sets her up to fail just because it's the only position available to move up into.
Yeah. I really commend OP actually. Like he went above and beyond to accommodate her, to provide a solution in the future. He didn't punish her for having one bad day.
Right.
So I think that's really commendable. Like I can't say I've had managers, especially in the service industry, who would give me that much grace.
Right. And I think looking back on our initial reaction, I still side with what we said. I think him saying, like, you can either go back to your old role or, like, we need to figure something out is a valid response given what he knew at the time. Right.
Yes. Yes.
Given everything he knew, hindsight is 20/20, and everybody else having the internet at their fingertips and their lived experiences as they're giving these opinions, might make him look very myopic in his approach. But when you are trying to run a business, like you cannot always consider every single possible worldview and lived experience when you are trying to keep your business open.
Yeah.
So I think that he did the right thing in terms of taking some time. She did the right thing by holding herself accountable and being honest about what was going on with her. Like that's really who I want to give snaps to is
Yes.
that she didn't just quit and like continue to spiral alone. She reached out, she told him what was going on, she got the help and the language needed to be successful there.
Yeah. Well said.
Thanks.
Compared to the other stories we've told today, this is an example of a healthy work environment.
Yes.
Where people are supporting other people, like they worked on a solution together for the next time this happens. Like that's the best way to handle this. And now because of his level of understanding and willingness to find a solution, she is going to be so committed to that job. She's going to be a better employee.
Yep.
Because she's appreciative of what he has done for her. Like it's all positive things.
Yeah, absolutely. Being people-centric and putting employees first always yields positive returns. And I just wish more companies understood that.
Seriously. And a lot of companies were just minions.
Just a number.
Yep.
But not the asshole.
Not the asshole. Sounds like you're a great business owner. Sounds like you're a great boss. Good job.
World's best boss.
Get him a coffee mug.
Love it. Okay, well, let's keep the positivity train going with our class act of the week. This is where Robin and I take turns highlighting a person, place, thing, or even a social media connection that we thought just had a little touch of class to it. So, Robin, it's your turn this week. What you got?
My class act is going to our dear friend Jackie. She was such a gracious host for Thanksgiving. You know, hosting it's a huge role.
Yeah.
And she is a fantastic host, generally goes above and beyond, and probably puts too much on her plate than she needs to, which happened. But it resulted in a freaking amazing meal. She made these condiments, I guess you can call them, to put with things. Like she made this chutney and this salsa verde and this other like crumble with shallots. It was so freaking delicious. And for the turkey, she used Indian spices. So it was a really like non-traditional style Thanksgiving where you still use a lot of those elements, but put a twist on it.
A new take on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And she made these homemade sourdough bread rolls and just worked her butt off making this Thanksgiving like really special. And I know how hard that can be. And I saw like how tired she was too. But I just want to commend Jackie on her badass hosting skills and how wonderful of a Thanksgiving it was for everyone. We just had a great time socializing, and yeah, that's what the holidays are all about. And my family stopped doing Thanksgiving as soon as my great-grandparents passed away, which was when I was a very little kid. So I've never like gotten together with my family for Thanksgiving. It's always been going to a friend's house. So it's great to like live next to one of my best friends, and I am going to a family member's home.
Yeah.
You know?
Your chosen family.
Yeah. And so, yeah, Jackie, class act all day, every day. Love you.
All day, every day. Jackie is one of the classiest of the classy ladies and always the hostess with the mostest. I mean, Jackie hosts some of the best parties, just so creative. Yeah. Hats off to Jackie.
Hats off. Okay, it is time for class or crass. And we made this workplace related as well. Your coworker forgets, in quotation marks, your coworker forgets to cover your shift again, texting, 𝗔𝗵𝐵𝐀. You go straight to the boss and say, this is the third no call, no show for childcare. Will you speak with them? Is it classy because you're keeping your professional boundaries, or crass because you threw them under the bus?
Whew. This is so dicey because thinking back to that time when you had shifts, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like that alone is just like a trigger for me. Like, oh yeah, remembering things like, oh, can you cover my shift? I'll swap it out, and you're just kind of hoping that somebody else comes through for you. So when they don't, you somehow get in trouble or it falls back on you, and that puts you in a really shitty place.
Yeah. At Fido, that was the system. Like, you could only ask somebody if they would cover for you. And if they said yes, you're taking them at their word. If they don't show up, you got in trouble, which was such bullshit. And that's why I love when I went to the sushi restaurant that I worked at, they had an online system for scheduling, and you could just put your shift up for someone to grab. And you could send out a message too, but in order for someone to pick it up, they had to take it. And so the schedule changed to their name, and then they were responsible for that shift. And if they couldn't come or something,
Yeah.
it's still on them. Even if they tried to get a hold of you, like, hey, can you actually take your shift back? Like, you could totally say no.
Mhm.
So I like those developments because it does suck to get it put back on you when the whole reason you got it covered was for something important or somewhere you had to be.
Mhm.
Whether or not you have kids doesn't matter. It's like OP from earlier. Your kids are none of my business.
Exactly. And there's just like no shittier feeling than when you're hoping that everything can run smoothly without you, and then people show you it can't. You know, it's almost like teaching you that you can't rely on other people, which maybe you can't. It sounds like whoever this is about, wouldn't be able to rely on this person.
I absolutely felt that way in the service industry.
Yeah, you just like really cannot rely on someone else. And so now the question is, though, is this taking it too far to take it directly to the manager and, really expose what's going on with their flakiness?
I mean, if this is the third time it's happened to this person, it's probably happened to your other coworkers as well. You know what I mean? So I bet it's a pattern with this person specifically, and maybe it is important for the manager to step in and say, look, if you know these kinds of situations are going to continue to come up, like maybe stop picking up shifts that you're not going to show up for.
Yeah. And I think, sometimes you got to CYA, cover your ass. And if you're worried that that shift that is no longer covered is going to roll back on you because it was originally yours, like, boom, you have to have receipts, screenshots, timelines. Like, you have to have all of that, because if it's between your job and their job, like, you have to save your job. Like, you have to put yourself first, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Your coworkers are not your friends, people.
No. Even though
we were coworkers.
we had blurred lines.
Service industry is so hard. I know, but like, unfortunately, let me put it this way. Moments like this show you if your coworkers are your friends.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it, because friend's not going to put you in a bind.
Or they're going to find someone else to cover that shift. Like, why are you putting it back on the person? They obviously couldn't work that shift. They wouldn't ask you to cover it if they could. Do you know what I mean? So to put it back on that person shows you that, like, they are just not reliable, and I wouldn't really want that person as a friend. So I personally think that it is classy to say, you know what? I'm going to show this to the manager. This is your responsibility to cover. It's not my problem anymore, and you have to deal with the consequences, not me.
I completely agree. Like, keep those professional boundaries. It would be different if this was a one-off, but it's not.
Right.
Like, this is a consistent behavior from this person, and that's not okay.
Whew! Workplaces are basically group chats with paychecks, and today proved it.
From fake firings to fridge forts, we're all just trying to survive the 9 to 5 without becoming the villain. Moral of today's chaos? Boundaries are classy, revenge is tempting, and lunch theft is apparently a capital offense.
Were these OPs heroes or hotheads? Drop your takes below.
Send us your Am I the Asshole stories at artofclassiness@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram and TikTok at Art of Classiness.
Thanks for listening, and remember, classy is a state of mind.
So mind your classiness. Bye!